Okay, LGBTQ people on Little Red Book, Red Note, whatever you want to call it, come to the front. I've seen a lot of conversation having about Red Note isn't for us and this, that, and the other, and everything because they tried to go in guns blazing, LGBTQ proud there, and are surprised they're getting content violations. Remember, the app is Chinese and it's owned, and it's run by the Chinese government, which is conservative. That platform wasn't marketed us, and it's not of our culture being American culture. However, that does not mean that there isn't LGBTQ representation there. Much like we forged a way to get around things by like the dollar bean and stuff here, there are LGBTQ people in China that have found their own way, and the content is there. It's more subtle. Women loving women content is under WLUHW. LWULUHW. You find it there. And if anybody should know what it's like to exist in a country, because you in a country that is trying to repress who you are or trying to hide who you are, it should be us. So we should understand that what the app does as a representation of the government is not representative of the people trying to use the app to connect. And this is a time when we should be going in and listening instead of going in demanding to be heard in a way we set in another country. That's colonization thought, and it's weird. And I'll say I'm surprised that people didn't go in like looking to see what content was there, seeing how they handled it before they go in guns a-blazing, trying to post as if they're posting here. And again, how the government is censoring content is not necessarily reflective of what the people feel. So this is a great time to connect with LGBTQ members in China. Listening, discourse in comment section, using translator and stuff, not going in shouting, going in consuming and listening, and then reflecting to make sure that you can express yourself in a way that's going to be heard, that's going to be shared, and that won't endanger the people living there or lead to their content that they've learned to carve out a niche for getting harsher CGVs on. Gee, wouldn't know what that was like here, right? Again, if anybody should know about somebody censoring content not necessarily being reflective of the people actually living in the country, it should be us right now. But everybody seems so eager to get their face and everything on there and just blare their stuff that they're not taking the time to listen and to see, especially for a marginalized community, which is also a marginalized community in China, probably even more so than here. And from what I've read, it's a very feminine dominated app anyway, so it's just all it took was some sitting back and listening first. But as Americans, we're really bad at that. We're really good at centering ourselves and thinking the environment should adjust us instead of us adjusting to the environment. But it's no different than going to visit another country and learning the cultural norms so that you don't make a nuisance out of yourself or endanger yourself or endanger others in the country you're visiting. If you were a member of the community and literally thought you were going to go to that app and do activism work for LGBTQ out and loud like you've done here, oh, no. And especially if you thought you were going to do it without making connections first to see how safe to do it, that's showing you're not listening to any of the content that people of color and other marginalized communities have been doing about colonizing and you haven't been listening. Or you haven't internalized it to stop yourself from doing it first. But all that being said, the content's there. I mean, I've made one video introducing myself. The rest of the time, I've been scrolling and seeing how people are posting. And when I tell you my algorithmed for WLW content. I mean, I'm getting tomboy femme style. And if tomboy here is like tomboy was in the Philippines, that's another word for lesbian. Another one, that's a male couple. Chapel Roan is all over the place there. Here's this one. I don't need a boy, I need a girl. And again, I get the hair. And people, Americans are in there giving her hell over that. But in my experience, straight hair is so common there. A textured hairstyle or something like that would be something unique and different. And whenever I've traveled in Asia or whenever I'd gone to the Philippines, there was always fascination with my facial features and different things. I mean, again, Chapel fan art. And there were other like women loving women couples photo shoot videos like that there were comments like, am I interrupting something, or this, and the WULUHWU label there. So I think it's a bit harsh to go over there into that environment and say this isn't for us because we can't interact with their space the way we want to, and when it wasn't a space created for us for activism. But it is a great space to talk to other members of the community that are stuck in a situation like we're stuck now, and engage and see how they're handling, how to post content, maybe how they organize or whatnot in a respectful manner. Because sometimes shit just isn't about just our needs only. I'm just saying. There are other US-based platforms, Fanbase, Clapper, Blue Sky, whatever, that we can organize if we want to get it together to organize here. But expecting to go over there and not respect the space is seems to me like colonizing type behavior. But I have thoroughly enjoyed scrolling and seeing the different content. It feeds that itch for me, and getting to know and realize that as people, as citizens under a repressive government, we're not that different. And you can't judge the citizens by the government unless everybody here wants to be judged by our future leader. So again, I feel like this is a thing of like, check your privilege, because, and realize where you are and what the space was originally created for, and engage with it appropriately instead of going over there trying to act like an American, act like you're crashing at somebody's house, eating everything in their fridge, and just disrespecting the place, and then saying, hey, they hate us over there. That's not really fair. Anywho, that's just been my experience, sitting back, watching, letting the algorithm, and interacting, and then reading comments. And if you want an easy way to read comments on the page, like when you have the page up, if you go down to this on an Android, go down to the square at the bottom of your screen and just hold it, your Google Translate will come up and it'll change the comments to English really fast. But just pause and consume for once. Just consume, listen, because that's the most important thing, especially in a new place. Listen. You don't have to be the loudest voice in the room. Honestly, you don't even have to have a voice in a room. You can gain so much knowledge from just listening and observing. So anyway, that's my little PSA. Because honestly, if you just sit there and vibe, the vibe over there is really good. Just remember where you're engaging and who you're engaging with, and keep their safety in mind.